Exciting news from Sweden. Hallberg-Rassy just launched a new model, the Hallberg-Rassy 400. We have looked at the numbers of this boat and compared it to the previous 412, which is an aft cockpit boat, and the quite new boat model, the 40C, which is a center cockpit boat. And what we found out is that the new boat, the new 400, is just the same in the size and the rig and the keel as the center cockpit 4C, and I guess it has the same hull as well. Let's see what we found out. This new model, Hallberg-Rassy 400, has a huge cockpit. And it goes the whole way back. The stern is quite straight, so you can use the length of the boat the whole way down, far out. Of course, it's got a double steering wheel, which is for many a must. It opens up the cockpit and makes it easier to move around in the cockpit, and it also makes it better for the helmsman to see the sails and also maneuvering in the harbors. And I think this is a really big benefit of this boat here compared to the 40C with the center cockpit. I won't make a discussion about the aft cockpit or the center cockpit. The opinions are so different, and of course in some cases the center cockpit is better, and in some cases the aft cockpit is better. Me personally, I prefer aft cockpit, and that's because you get to use the volume in the boat better, but you don't get this big aft owner's cabin. But if you look at the cockpit, you get a lot bigger cockpit when you have it aft, and also you have access to the bathing platform, which is make it even bigger when you, especially in Scandinavia, when you're mooring or laying with the bow into the rocks, you get a swimming platform. You can relax after a morning bath and stuff like that. It's really nice. The winch is moved a little bit backwards, so the helmsman can reach them. At least he can reach the buttons to adjust the sails, because everything is electrical and mechanical adjusted. The foredeck is quite similar as the 40C. It's the aft section of the boat which is the same. One disadvantage is that the main sheet system is moved forward, so it's now in the middle of the boom instead of in the far back of the boom. Strength-wise, it's better to have it further back. I guess Hallberg-Rassy have made a bigger profile on the boom for this model, or if not, the profile on the 40C is too heavy. Let's have a look at that when the boat is in the water. The problem with the main sheet in the middle of the boom is when you accidentally jibe, then you have a lot of tension in the middle of the boom, and it can bend if you are unlucky. So but if you're sailing properly, the boat properly, it won't be a problem. Of course, it is the best way is to have the main sheet away from the people in the cockpit. That's a safety issue, especially for people who are not used to sail. But the best option in my mind is to have an arc, so you can get the main sheet system further back while have it away from the people in the cockpit. And here in Scandinavia, you always have the spray hood up, so the arc, okay, it's not a aesthetical nice thing, but when you have the spray hood up, it doesn't matter. Let's take a look at the interior and the layout. It's nice to put the drawings side by side so you can actually see the bulkheads where they are placed, and the place of the bulkheads shows a little bit of the volume distribution. And if you have a look at the drawings, I put the new one, the 400 in the middle, compared to the 4C at the top, and the 412, the old one, at the bottom. If you look at the 40C and the 400, it's the same until the galley. Compared to the 412, which is a little bit longer, but it's got a shorter water length, and it's also a little bit narrower, especially in the front and aft. So the new one, the 40, which is a little bit smaller, it's actually a bigger boat. And you can see that in the interior. The distance between the bulkhead, the main bulkhead in front of the mast, and to the bulkhead to the aft cabins is longer, and with a wider hull you get more volume. And this volume, it's both benefiting the galley and the saloon. The galley is really big to be a 40-footer. It's actually room for a dishwasher, which is extraordinary in a 40-foot boat. I really like that. I will say the weak point of this boat is the owner's cabin. The Hallberg-Rassy 400 is quite a narrow bow. It's nice for upwind sailing, it's nice for performance, but if you look at the trend in the French yards, they widen the bow section so they get a wider bed in the front. And if you have a look at the foremost front of the bed in the owner's cabin, I guess it's a little bit more narrow than on some of the new French boats. But yeah, if you sleep with the head backwards, it's no problem. It's a lot of improvement compared to the older boats, to the 411. This one is a bigger bed, and you have a lot of options. You have 3 different owner's cabins options. I would go for the regular V bed and have a bigger bathroom, or you can have an island bed and then you have a smaller bathroom, but then you have better access to the bed from the sides. And if you are one of the guys you really have to go up during the night and you won't wake up your wife or whenever, island bed is to prefer. But if you don't have those problems, I will go for a wee bed, and then have a proper shower in the bathroom, because in the 3 cabin versions, the aft bathroom doesn't have its own shower. It's quite a small guest bathroom. But if you have the 2 cabin versions, you have a huge bathroom in the back, and then you can get rid of the bathroom in the front and have a huge owner's cabin, which I will prefer if I would travel a long trip just with my family. I would go for 2 cabins and 1 big bathroom back and a huge 4th cabin. The aft cabins is quite nice. It looks quite a lot like the previous models. The distance from the bulkhead to the bed is a little bit shorter on the new one, but the beds are a little bit wider. What they have done is to make the room, the technical room underneath the cockpit between the cabins, a bit wider, which makes it easier to fit a generator or fold down thruster, stuff like that. And also, of course, you get more privacy. And underneath the cabin, it's not underneath the cockpit, it's not the best place to sleep, so you get the beds further out to the sides, and the boat here is really wide in the back, so you get a lot more headroom up on the beds, which is really nice. Sailing wise, I've sailed most of the new Hallberg-Rassys, and I was really impressed by the 412. It was in 2012, I think, yeah. But then I thought maybe, that was a time when double steering steering wheel was coming, and it felt a little bit dated actually when it was launched. Launched probably 2-3 years too late for the design, but it was a really great boat, really nice sailing. I sailed 40C in December 2019 in heavy breeze, cold weather. We started off with the full main. It was too much wind for the big main, and we tested out the double rudder system. Of course, a double rudder makes the rudder grip a lot more, and it makes it easy to sail in heavy conditions. But still, we lost the rudder grip quite unexpected actually. It might be a little more too racing profile on the rudders, I'm not sure, but of course it was a lot of wind and cold wind, which is more heavy than warm wind, so it was rough conditions. So it's also cons and pros of having two rudders. I would say for sailing heavy weather, it's a benefit, but maneuvering in harbor, a lot of people put in extra bow and stern thrusters to sort that out. I wouldn't say that really necessary on this boat, but yeah, to be on the safe side, yes, which adds the cost. And also having two rudders, it's more expensive for the yard to make, so it makes the boat more expensive. But I was really impressed about the performance of the 40C, and if you looked at the numbers, the new 400 has just the same stability, same keel weight, same depth, same rig as the 40C, so I guess the 400 will be very much the same. And compared to 412, the old one, which was a performance, one of the really performing Hallberg-Rassys, I guess this new boat will be a little bit faster and better in heavy weather. The keel is a little bit lighter, and it has a little more sail area. I guess the roach on the main is a little bit bigger because the mast is the same height. But the hull will give the new boat more stability than the old 412, and that will makes it nicer to sail in heavy weather. Also a little bit faster on the reach, I guess. I am really looking forward to check the new Hallberg-Rassy 400 out. I hope it will be just as windy and cold and stormy as the previous tests I've done with Hallberg-Rassy, because in those conditions you really see what the quality is made of. And I think this boat, this 40-footer, is the perfect size for a big audience. Of course, it's a little bit on the expensive size, but to maneuver, to have in the harbor, you can sort of do more things with the boat yourself. So it will be a cheaper boat to buy, but still have a lot of comfort, just as comfort as you used to have on the 50-60 footers earlier. You have place for some guests, huge cockpit. I think this is a boat that a lot of people is going to dream about.